UFC's first event in Liverpool was one for the history books. On today's show, we take an all-access look at what went down in an emotionally charged night in England's northwest. We follow the impressive debut day of Italian Carlo Pedersoli in Liverpool. Also, Dan Hardy goes back through the archives and picks his top European UFC trailblazers. And we pay tribute to the career of UK MMA legend Michael The Count Bisping. Welcome to UFC Connected. UFC Liverpool will go down as one of the UK's most memorable fight nights. The card delivered spectacular action from top to bottom, and the vocal Liverpool fans were in full swing to support their hometown hero, Darren Till. Let's look back at the action and reactions in our fight night follow-up.
What a place to spend a holiday weekend. Late May in Liverpool in 2018. And what's sure to be a raucous environment inside the Echo Arena as the world-famous Octagon makes its first appearance to Merseyside.
For the winner, by unanimous decision, Elias the Spartan Theodorou.
Good fight, a tough competitor. Pretty sure I won all rounds, but obviously one of the judges gave it 2-1. Whether you win or lose, you got to go to the drawing board, and I'm really excited to be top 15 mixed martial artists in the world and planning to stay that way.
Beautiful scramble there from Gillian Robertson to secure a takedown.
Look out, tight squeeze from Robertson there, tight squeeze.
And back on the mat, Molly. Put your back on the mat, Molly.
She's out, she's out, she's out!
And that is it!
She's out!
Gillian the Savage Robertson.
I was able to go out there, and she was trying to keep it on the feet, and I knew that once I got to the ground, it would be over, so that's why I took the fight.
For the winner, by unanimous decision, Lena Elbow Queen Masberg.
My hands felt a little bit heavy when I came in there. I don't know why, but I did some great kicking, elbows in the clinch. I always feel strong in the clinch, so it was quite comfortable. She's tough, definitely. So it was a good fight, yeah. And I'm glad the elbows were there. Feels so good when you feel it.
But when
and in the blink of an eye, it's over.
Beautiful. Can't wait for me now. All good. I like how he was patient.
He was waiting for the shot. Why was reaching?
Because he hadn't fought for a while.
He was dropping his head,
I wanted the patience.
Breeze's back. Breeze's back, man.
I was trying to work my jab and just keep my distance. He was doing a good job of parrying, so I was trying to get him to react to a jab and either come with a straight left or the uppercut. The uppercut came through, caught him on the eye. And it hurt him, and then I smelt the finish and put him away. Yeah, I just want to get back to the gym and keep progressing, and get ready for the next challenge, next step.
Sends Spicy to his back, and now ground for Stewart.
Big shot, Spicy trying to cover.
Big shot for Darren Stewart, and that is it. Wow. There's a patient that gets drilled by the dentist. Darren Stewart, a winner here in Liverpool.
Come on! Come on!
He did it perfectly. He took his time, and he just done it perfectly. Perfect. I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud.
Everyone that knows me, I had a year last year. I lost 3 in a row. All I want to do is get my name back. I deserve to be here. I deserve to be here.
Hey, Darren.
He does not want to tap. He is trying to keep his wits, and that is his. Neil Hall calls it, and what a performance.
I'm a born fighter, you know. What I've come back, you know, fighting in Liverpool. The fans here, they are really passionate. I was walking the street. I never feel so loved, man. This is amazing place. Whatever UFC decides, I'm ready. I'm ready to go, baby. Yes, let's rock and roll.
Certainly liked it.
For the winner by split decision, Mac 1, Mr. Finland, America.
Mac 1, I was somewhat happy he was in adversity because that was good for him, I think. You know, round 1 could have went either way. And then I thought 2 and 3 was pretty straightforward for us. Good technical fight, and I'm very happy.
Oh, look at this. He's wrapped it up. That looks tight. Masvidal's trying to bail out. But oh, no, that's
Oh my God.
Yes!
Wasn't that the plan? I'm a bit of man flu all week. I've been coughing up. That's all right. We'll be back.
Veteran welterweight contender Neil Magny is a tough assignment for anyone, especially someone making their UFC debut. Magny sensing the moment to finish.
Good work.
Repeated work by Neil Magny, and there it is.
Congrats to Craig White. He took this fight on short notice to make sure that this thing happened tonight. Because he took this fight, I'm going to make a $15,000 donation to a young girl who's battling a pretty severe medical issue right now. So huge thanks to Craig White for taking this fight and making this happen tonight.
They go the full 25 minutes here in Liverpool.
For the winner by unanimous decision, Darren the Gorilla
I've been fighting since I was 13. I've never fought a striker like that, so I had to use every part of my brain to figure them out, because I couldn't, and still in the end, you know, one lucky left hand maybe edged it, but it was like that. Amazing. But all them doubters, yes, saying what now? Now! Who the is doubting me now? No one! No one! I'm not scared of anyone! No one! Yeah, people asking me, you might deserve a title shot after this fight. No one won't do. I haven't beat anyone. I need to beat all these. They're all getting it. Who's doubting me now? Who is doubting? That's all I wanted. There's no one to doubt me. I'm not the best yet, but I will be. But I just want to be up there with all you guys. Just don't doubt me. No whatever you do.
Italian welterweight Carlo Pedersoli made his UFC debut in Liverpool. On less than 2 weeks' notice, the 24-year-old stepped up to take on tough Brit Brad Scott. Pedersoli had his hand raised after an impressive 3-round battle to kickstart his UFC career in style. We were with the team every step of the way for his debut day.
My UFC debut. This is my dream from when I was a child. At the Pride game and the UFC games in the PlayStation, so it's hard to feel this emotion, and I will go in the cage in maybe 2 hours, 3 hours with my all best stuff and nothing else. I know that he have good hands, good boxing, and some good skills, but I think I'm better than him. I will demonstrate today.
They just told us that Brad Scott's opponent was injured or something, so the fight was scratched, and they asked us if he was ready and could make weight, and he can always make weight, so we said, of course. When UFC calls, you just say yes. Now finally we're in.
These are the best days of your life. Yes. The best days. Besides making babies and doing things like that, this is the best days of your life.
Carlo is destined to be a star. The more pressure, the better he performs.
Sometimes with these rising stars, it's just a case of them getting into the octagon before we really see what they're made of. And Pedersoli showed all the ingredients of being a future star. Now he's in the UFC, we get to see how he contends with these higher level athletes.
Fighting out of Rome, Italy, and tonight he is making his octagon debut, presenting Carlo Cemento Pedersoli!
Vai, guarda che stai a fa.
Leon Roberts, the third man in for this welterweight fight, as Carlo Pedersoli takes the short notice UFC opportunity.
Oh,
big slice.
Molto bene, calma lì, sì, mano destra su.
Oh, heavy hands being swung, both sides.
Oh!
Straight left.
Oh, and again!
Backs up Pedersoli, and he's on his back.
Mani su, 30 secondi, Carlo. 30.
Now there's some games being played, some mind games.
Bravo, non c'è un cazzo, vieni qua seduto, vieni qua. Bravo.
Super round, è perfetto. C'ha il jab e ogni tanto ricerca col destro. Hai visto? Il resto sono calcetti.
Bravo! Bravo!
Eats the body kick well, and another one.
Ha sentito il fegato, fidati!
Big wind up for the low kick. Oh, nice body kick from Pedersoli. Oh, what a body kick that was. I'm starting to feel a little bit like Pedersoli's able to maintain his speed and able to cover distance quicker than Brad Scott.
Pedersoli continues to pump the jab.
Molto bravo, Carlo. Bravo, Carlo.
And it's been Pedersoli much busier in the second round.
Beautiful. Really nicely timed takedown.
On top to end the round.
Guardami a me, viene come un pazzo, sta a perdere. Prossimo round cerca i cazzotti e cerca il kickdown, ok? La mano su, giro dalla parte giusta, non famo ok? Sai vince il match. Viene come un pazzo, guardi alta, viene come un pazzo mo, forza.
Oh, that was a beautiful body kick again. Pedersoli starting to get the timing of Bradley Scott's jab.
Another left kick lands for Pedersoli.
Pedersoli's running away now with the significant strikes.
Another body kick.
Nice takedown attempt here again from Pedersoli.
And ground and pound lands a big elbow, but an impressive 15 minutes in the debut of Carlo Pedersoli.
For the winner by split decision, Carlo Cemento Pedersoli.
It was all in my way. Only one punch. I received hard punch, but nothing important. But it's okay. My debut, awesome experience. I'm very happy. We will see. Now I have 5 fights in 1 year, so I need to rest a little bit.
Europe's current crop of UFC stars is certainly making its presence felt on the international stage. Since the very beginning, Europe has played a pivotal role in the UFC's global recognition, and a select few will be remembered as pioneers who opened doors for those who followed. Dan Hardy has picked 5 standouts from the early era who he believes paved the way for the European stars of today.
Before the UFC was understood and embraced by the mainstream, there were people all around the world competing in mixed martial arts, and we had a really strong contingent of European fighters that represented this region. This is my list of early trailblazers that played a pivotal role in establishing Europe as one of the powerhouses of the UFC. Kicking things off, Gerard Gordeau, the first fighter to ever gain a victory in the UFC octagon. Gerard Gordeau was known around the world for traveling to various different tournaments and martial arts contests to test himself under any rule set.
With a record of 27-4, Gerard Gordeau.
He stepped in at UFC 1, and in the first round of the tournament, the very first victory inside the UFC octagon, he he managed to pick up a win over tough Hawaiian sumo wrestler Taylor Tully.
What do you think? Let's go. Whoa.
I think we're just missing teeth there.
He kicked his front tooth into the first row and progressed into the second round, where he beat Kevin Rossier. That set him up for a shot at Hoist Gracie in the final.
This is the championship. This is for the Ultimate Fighting Champion. There's the takedown.
It's got to be a great choke. It's over.
It's over.
On that night, he was out of his depth, but he showed the spirit of a true mixed martial artist, and he went straight back to the gym and got to work on his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He didn't have an extensive career in mixed martial arts, but because he took that first victory in the octagon, he'll always have a place in UFC history. Next up is the Russian bear, Oleg Taktarov. One of my favorite fighters ever to step foot in the octagon, and a person that, for me, defined what it is to see a Russian fighter in the octagon. That stoic toughness, where they're just never gonna back down and they will fight through anything and take on all comers. Taktarov came in representing Russian Sambo. He had the throws, the takedowns, and the submissions on the floor, but he also had a very, very good boxing skill set as well. And for me, he was one of the very first real mixed martial artists that we saw in those early days, because he was able to put it all together. Oleg Taktarov entered the UFC at UFC 5. He got through the first round, but then ran into Dan Severn and picked up a pretty bad cut. But that wasn't enough to deter him. He came back at UFC 6, he battled through the first 2 fights, picking up, still to this day, the fastest submission in UFC history, a 9-second guillotine. But then he progressed on to the final, where he faced Tank Abbott, and for almost 18 minutes they battled. Taktarov, being the much smaller fighter, he expended so much energy in that fight, but his toughness showed through. He was able to take the back and sink in a rear naked choke.
This could do it again. That's it. Taktarov wins it.
He got the tap, and both fighters collapsed on the floor, and Oleg Taktarov was declared the winner of UFC 6. The next fighter I'd like to feature is the Hall of Famer, one of the biggest personalities in the sport, and one of my favorites, Bas Rutten. The majority of his early career was spent in Japan, where he was fighting under the banner of the Pancrase tournament, where he became the king of Pancrase, the champion of that division. And he was a dominant Thai boxer, taking on a lot of submission wrestlers and kind of learning the game as he went along.
There he is, Bas Rutten. Rutten's taken over. Rutten's taken over. It's over. Rutten has won his UFC debut.
After a successful debut, he stepped onto the card at UFC 20, and he was the main event against Kevin Randleman, the Monster, a strong wrestler with incredible athletic ability. And although it was a rough night for Bas Rutten, he came out on the judges' scorecards, and he was the first European fighter to pick up a world title in the UFC. For me, he was one of the early practitioners of Muay Thai that had much success in the UFC. But aside from that, his personality and his character shone through, and people gravitated to his fights because they wanted to see him succeed because he was such a likable guy, and one of the best representatives of the sport that we've ever had. So to Bas Rutten, Godspeed and party on. I couldn't have made these selections without including this next individual, the machine, Ian Freeman.
Ian Freeman, 33 years old, out of Sunderland, England.
Ian Freeman was campaigning around the world as a mixed martial artist before it was even a thing, before anybody was keeping track, before there were cameras on these events, before people were covering them for the media. Ian Freeman was doing this purely out of the love of martial arts and purely for the need of the challenge. He took an undefeated record into the UFC of 7-0 and had 6 fights under the UFC banner. He quickly became one of Dana White's favorite fighters, mainly because of his grit and aggression when he was competing.
Ian the Machine Freeman!
And one of his standout moments was the beating that he put on Frank Mir at UFC 38. One of the moments that inspired me at the beginning of my career and many other fighters around the world. He laid the foundation for every other UK fighter that followed.
Yo, England, I did it!
And finally, the pitbull from Belarus, Andrei Arlovski. The reason I picked Andrei Arlovski to sit in the #1 spot for my European Trailblazers is because he redefined what it was to be an athlete in mixed martial arts. After his presence in the octagon, you could see all of the other heavyweights around him looking at themselves and thinking, I could do with being a bit stronger and a bit faster. His career highlight for me was when he beat Tim Sylvia for the interim heavyweight championship and then stepped in against Paul Buentello, and in 15 seconds knocked him out in one punch to become the undisputed heavyweight champion. Arlovski's an amazing athlete, and that's probably the reason why he's still active today. And when he does finally hang the gloves up, he'll find his place in the UFC Hall of Fame.
And then came the Count, Michael Bisping, a standout figure who firmly put UK MMA on the map in the modern era. The former UFC middleweight champion recently announced his retirement from competition, leaving behind a legacy that'll inspire generations to come.
Fighting out of Manchester, England, Michael The Count Bisping!
His personality and the way he lives his life is just as tough and as gritty as he was in the octagon. He's one of my all-time favorites.
He's special. Things that he's done, what he's accomplished, absolute pioneer of the sport for us. He's led the way.
He's flown the flag for the UK. He's done us proud.
He's had an amazing career. He's been like the front runner for English MMA. There's no bigger name. And it was always destined for him to be the first English champion.
My name's Mike The Count Bisping. There's one thing I've always been good at, and that's been fighting. I feel I've got what it takes to make a real living out of this, you know, a real career.
Michael Bisping is the ultimate fighter! He has quickly become one of the most exciting and one of the most popular fighters in the UFC.
He has this verbal, swagger about him, which reminds me of a stereotypical Brit. And for me, I love that because it reminds me of home and it reminds me of who we are.
England won, USA not. He's like the first talking Brit, wouldn't he?
Believe it, and you achieve it. I know that I'm better than this.
Sounds like the worst self-help book you've ever read. Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the up.
I think he was one of the first guys to play that mental warfare game.
Bisping has always fought the toughest guys out there, always willing to step up when we needed him. A lot of things that would have broke down a normal guy didn't break Bisping down.
He's the epitome of the person who rises above adversity. That's Bisping.
Michael's pouring on the pressure. Michael Bisping!
Middleweight champion of the world!
Him winning the title against Luke Rockhold made the hairs on my neck stand up. That was a great moment for him.
When he won the title, it was like, he deserved that. He's been plugging away for so many years.
All the hard work, all the stuff that he's been through, I wanted to strap that belt on his waist.
Everybody here, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here now. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
To Michael Bisping, from all of us here at UFC Connected, we hope you enjoy your well-earned retirement. That wraps us up for this episode. Have your say online by tweeting us at UFC Europe using the hashtag UFC Connected. I'll see you next time.